So section 3, linear equations, slope, graphing, parallel and perpendicular lines. So we are going to find the slope between -3 and 7 and 5 and -1. This is our slope formula. It's it's given right above this problem for us. It will not be given on the midterm. This is something that needs to be memorized. It's not given to you on the Algebra 1 EOC. So we will have to have this memorized. So what I like to do is we are going to label x1, y1, x2, and y2. I'm going to start. So our slope is m equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1 equals. So our y2 is a -1, y1 is a 7, so plug that in. And then you have x2, which is 5, minus x1, which is a -3. So that turns into a double negative. So we're going to have -1 minus 7 over 5 plus 3. So that will be -8 over a +8, which is -1. And that is our answer. All right, 18. Write the equation of a line with a slope of 4. So we have a slope of 4 through 1 comma -3 in slope-intercept form. This is another thing. You are not given slope-intercept form. It's on the EOC reference sheet, but it does not label it at all. It doesn't say what the form is. It just kind of has the formula listed. So you will have to know which is which because it has all of the different types: slope-intercept, point-slope, standard form, but it does not tell you any of them, any of the names of them. So you have to remember. So slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is our slope and b is our y-intercept, hence the name slope-intercept form. So what we have to do is we were given slope and we're given a coordinate. Neither of these points are our y-intercept. Our y-intercept would be if we were given 0, comma, y. That would be a y-intercept. But since that is not a 0, when I say that, sorry, I'm pointing to this number 1 right here. Since that 1 is not a 0, that's not an intercept. So we're going to have to find it the old-fashioned way using point slope formula. So we need to use point slope to find everything. So that is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus, our y1 is 3. So that is minus -3 equals m, which is 4, times x minus x1, which is 1. So right, that's x1, that's y1, and our slope 4 is m. All right, so we zoom in here. We have y plus 3 is equal to 4 times x, which is 4x, and 4 times -1, which is a -4. And then we are going to subtract 3 from both sides of our equation because we want y to be by itself, because we want this to be in y equals mx plus b format. So when we simplify this, we're going to end up with y equals 4x minus 7, and that is in slope-intercept form. So let's move on to the next question. Number 19, find the y-intercept of y equals -6x plus 14. So they were super nice. We have this in y equals mx plus b format. And if you remember, this b here, which happens to be this 14, is our y-intercept. So that means our y-intercept is equal to 14. Also, our slope is -6. And that's how you solve this one. If you were to write it in coordinate form, that would be 0, 14. So now on to number 20. Write the equation of the line passing through 0, -4 and 4, 8, this time in point slope form. So we've used point slope form. We have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where m is our slope and x1 and y1 are our coordinates. So we need to look at what we were given in order to see where to start. And based off of our problem, we are given 2 different points. We're given 0 and 4, so I'm going to label that x1 and y1. And we're given 4 and 8, x2 and y2. For point slope form, we need a point, which we have, and we need slope, which we don't have. So let's see if we can find slope. So our slope formula is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm going to plug in based off of the points we were given. So y2 is 8 minus y1, which is a -4. So we have double negative here. Divided by x2, which is 4, minus 0. So we have 8 plus 4 over 4 minus 0, which will end up being 12 divided by 4, which gives us a slope of 3. So let's plug in. We have a slope, we have a point. Let's do it. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus our y1 of 4. So y minus -4 equals our slope of 3 times x minus 0. So we have y plus 4 is equal to 3x minus 0. That is just 3x. So there's that. Your answer would either look like the one that I have now, or it's possible that it would be kept exactly like this, even though normally we'd like to simplify. So, yep. Where again, most likely, it would end up looking like that. Because point slope form is how we want it. We do not want to solve for y in this problem. Now we're moving on to our parallel and perpendicular lines. So, how we determine if something is perpendicular is we take the original slope, so it gives us a line with a slope of 2 and a slope of -1/2. So I'm going to take this slope of 2, and I'm going to apply the rule of negative reciprocal, or opposite reciprocal. So that means we're going to take this as a fraction. So 2 is the same thing as 2 over 1. And you flip the fraction, so 1/2, and you change the sign. So that's a positive, right? Because there's nothing there. So I'm going to put a negative. So if you flip the fraction and change the sign, and it's the same thing as the second option they're giving you, then it is perpendicular. So -1/2 that we ended up getting is the same as -1/2. So yes, they are perpendicular. So specifically, yes, since one slope is the negative reciprocal of the other. Is the negative reciprocal of the other. So that's specifically for perpendicular. Now for 22, we're going to write an equation that's parallel to y equals 7x minus 2 through negative 3 comma 5. Parallel is the same slope. So that means that our new slope is actually just going to be the same as our old one, which is 7. And I'm getting this 7 from right here that I called out, because that's y equals mx plus b. So our same slope of 7. So they gave us a coordinate. So they're really trying to get us to use point slope form once again. So that's x1, that's y1. So you have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And I'm going to plug in. So y minus 5 equals 7 times x minus negative 3. So y minus 5 equals 7 times x plus 3. And let's simplify and solve for y here. So y minus 5 equals 7x plus 21. And then we are going to get y all by itself by adding 5 to both sides of our equal sign to cancel out that negative 5 there. We get y equals 7x plus 26 as our answer. 23, same thing, except this time it's saying write an equation that's perpendicular to y equals negative 4x plus 6 through 2 comma 1. So what we're going to do is do the opposite reciprocal of negative 4. So negative 4 will turn into a positive 1 over 4, and that's our new slope. So our new slope is 1 over 4. So let's use our point slope again. We have x1 and y1. We have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus a negative 1 is equal to 1/4 times x minus 2. Now, usually with slope, we keep everything in fraction form. So I'm going to do just that in this problem. So y minus negative y1 turns into y plus 1 equals 1/4 x, because I'm going to distribute now. And now we're going to do 1/4 times negative 2. When you multiply fractions, you just multiply across the numerator and the denominator. So 1/4 times 2, you can even do that in your calculator. That's a negative 2. That would be a minus 2 over 4. But we would want to reduce that fraction down. That is not simplified. Okay, so we want to reduce that. So 2 over 4 is the same thing as 1/2, right? So reduce to negative 1/2. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this problem up here and I'm going to keep working on it. And instead of writing 2 over 4, I'm now going to write 1/2 in place of it, okay? So we have y plus 1 is equal to 1/4 x minus 1/2, because I've now reduced that fraction. Now I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides to get rid of that 1 that is next to the y. So we have y equals 1/4 x. Now we have negative 1/2 minus 1. So negative 1/2 minus 1 is going to end up being negative 1/2. But negative 1/2, like, we don't like having a mixed fraction like that. So negative 1/2 is the same thing as negative 3 over 2. Okay, so again, negative 1/2 minus 1 like what we did here, this is going to be negative a half minus 2 over 2. All right, which is the same thing as negative 3 over 2. All right, so negative 1.5 is the same thing as negative 3 over 2. It's the same thing as negative 1.5. All right, you have to know that these three that I just wrote are equivalent. These are equivalent numbers. They're the exact same. So here is our answer. Let's move on to our next problem. 24. Graph the line y equals negative 3x plus 1. Describe the slope and the intercept. So I'm going to point out what our slope is. So our slope is negative 3, and that is because this is in y equals mx plus b format, and that minus 3 is exactly where our m is, which means our y-intercept, which I'm going to use an abbreviation here, is 1. So we described the slope and the y-intercept. So how we graph something from slope-intercept form is we always start with the y-intercept, which is 1, right? So our y-intercept is right here, right? Because that is a 1 on the y-axis. And then our slope is minus 3. So if our slope is minus 3, that means we're going to go down. Let's see. We're going to go down 1, 2, 3, and to the right, 1. So our slope that we just did is negative 3, y-intercept of 1, and that's how we graph it. So again, our first step is to graph the y-intercept, which in our case is over 0, up 1. And then our second step is to graph the slope, which our slope is negative 3, which is also equal to negative 3 over 1, right? So our rise over run, right? So down 3 units, right 1 unit. All right. For 25, we're going to just state the slope and the y-intercept. For 5x minus 2y equals 10. So just by looking at it, I'm not sure what that is. We have to solve for it, because this is in standard form. So how we solve for it is we're going to need to solve for y to get into slope-intercept form. So 5x minus 2y is equal to 10. Solve for y. We need to get y by itself. Right now there's a 5x next to it. So I'm going to use our inverse operations. I'm going to subtract 5x from either side of our equal sign. So just once on either side of that equal sign. So 5x minus 5x, that is going to cancel out. I will have a negative 2y is equal to, we have this 10 and this minus 5x. Those you cannot combine. 10 is just a constant. There is no variable next to it. Negative 5x does have a variable. So I'm going to write this out as negative 5x plus 10. Because we just put them side by side like that. Our next step, y is still not by itself. We have a negative 2 next to it. And it's multiplication, right? We don't see any addition sign or subtraction sign in between that 2 and the y. So we're going to divide both sides of our equal sign by negative 2. every single term. So both that negative 5x and that positive 10. So we are going to get y equals negative 5x divided by negative 2 is 5 over 2x. And 10 divided by negative 2 is minus 5. So now this is in slope-intercept form. And slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, with m being our slope and b being our y-intercept. So our slope is 5 over 2. And our y-intercept, again, I'm abbreviating here, is negative 5. And that was for problem 25. And now on to 26. Convert y minus 3 equals 2 times x plus 4 into slope-intercept form. So the form that it's currently in is point slope. And the form we want it in is slope-intercept, which is y equals mx plus b. So that means solve for y. So solve for y. In order for us to do that, we need to distribute 2 times x and 2 plus 4. So we're going to have y minus 3 is equal to 2 times x, which is 2x, and 2 times 4, which is 8. And then we use our inverse operations to get y by itself. So we're going to add 3, since there's a minus 3 next to it. Add 3 just once on either side of the equal sign. So we're going to have y equals 2x. And you can only add the 3 to the 8 because both of those are constants. That 2x has an x next to it. It has a variable, and the 3 doesn't, so you can't add them. So 8 plus 3 is 11. So this is your answer. Y equals 2x plus 11. All right, and that's it for section 3.